I surprised my family at my Mill's birthday party. The kitchen light was off. That was the first wrong thing. The second was the sound, water slapping porcelain in a slow, exhausted rhythm. Not hurried, not careless. The sound of someone who had been there too long. I followed it, bare feet on cold tiles. The hallway smelled like sugar and roasted meat. Laughter leaked from the living room, warm and careless. 40 voices wrapped in celebration. Applause rose. Someone clinked a glass. Happy birthday. I reached the kitchen doorway. She didn't hear me. My daughter stood on a wooden stool, too big for her thin legs. The stool wobbled every time she shifted her weight. Her toes curled over the edge, white from the cold. A stack of plates leaned dangerously close to her chest. Her sleeves were wet. Soap bubbles clung to her wrists like bruises. She was crying. Silent, practiced. The kind of crying that has learned it doesn't change anything. I didn't say her name. I watched. The overhead bulb flickered once, then steadied. It cast her shadow huge and distorted against the wall. Too tall, too old. Not a child's shadow. "Why are you in the dark?" I asked. She flinched, nearly fell. I grabbed the stool, steady, controlled. She looked at me like I wasn't real. "Grandma said," she whispered, voice raw, "I'm not allowed inside until it's done." Her lip trembled. "It's 11, she added, like that mattered. Like time was something she had learned to measure in punishment. The laughter in the other room swelled again. A cheer, a birthday song starting up. I took her hands. They were wrinkled from water, cold, shaking, and something inside me went very still. I had planned the surprise carefully. I arrived late on purpose, a dramatic entrance, flowers, a gift wrapped too nicely, for someone who never liked me anyway. I imagined her face, pleased, triumphant, surrounded by witnesses. She liked witnesses. I hadn't planned the kitchen. I hadn't planned the stool, or the way my daughter kept apologizing as I wrapped her in my coat, whispering I almost finished like a confession. I walked her to the bathroom. Warm light, a towel. I dried her feet myself, slowly, methodically. "Did you eat?" I asked. She shook her head. "Grandma said cake is for guests." Guests. My daughter lived in that house every weekend. Guests stayed at the table. I kissed her hair. "Go sit in the car," I said. "Lock the doors. I'll be right back." She hesitated. Am I in trouble? That question landed harder than anything else that night. "No," I said. "You did exactly what you were told." Her shoulders relaxed. That told me everything. I stood alone in the hallway for a moment after she left. I counted my breaths. In, out. I remembered other things. Smaller things. Comments disguised as jokes. How my daughter was always sent to help while other children played. How my mother-in-law corrected her posture, her tone, her existence. How my husband said, "That's just how she is." I stepped into the living room.
40 faces turned toward me. Music stopped. My mother-in-law stood at the head of the table, crown tilted, wine glass raised. She smiled. "Finally," she said. I walked forward. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't smile. I said 6 words. She was washing dishes, alone, barefoot. The room didn't breathe. Her face went white. The party ended early. Not dramatically. No shouting. Just the quiet unraveling of comfort. Guests found excuses. Plates were cleared by adults this time. Someone avoided eye contact. Someone else whispered. My mother-in-law laughed too loudly. "It was just a little help," she said. "Children should learn responsibility." I nodded. That scared her more. We left. In the car, my daughter fell asleep with her head on my arm. I didn't move. I drove with one hand. That night, I didn't confront anyone. I waited. I watched. 2 weeks can be a long time if you're patient. I replayed everything. The rules, the punishments, the patterns, who enforced them, who allowed them. My husband avoided the subject. When I mentioned the kitchen, he sighed. When I mentioned the stool, he rubbed his face. "She didn't mean it like that," he said. Meaning is a luxury for people who aren't standing in the dark. I started asking questions. Not accusations, questions. Why did my daughter always come home exhausted? Why did she flinch when adults raised their voices? Why did she ask permission to sit? I checked messages. Old ones, deleted ones. I noticed how often my mother-in-law framed cruelty as discipline and obedience as love. I installed a small camera in the kitchen the next weekend. I didn't tell anyone. I watched. The footage was quiet. That was the worst part. Commands delivered softly. Smiles that didn't reach eyes. My daughter standing while others sat, clearing plates she hadn't used. being corrected for breathing too loudly. No yelling, no bruises, just erosion. And my husband knew. Not fully, not consciously, but enough. I showed him the footage on a Tuesday night. No preamble. I pressed play. He watched in silence. At first he frowned. Then his jaw tightened. Then he looked away. "That's not," he started. I paused it. Our daughter stood frozen on screen, waiting for permission to move. "Isn't it?" I asked. He didn't answer. I let it play again. The sound was clear. "Do it properly. Stand up straight. You're not finished." When it ended, the room felt hollow. "She's just strict," he said weakly. I leaned forward. "She told our daughter she wasn't allowed inside." He swallowed. "At 11, barefoot, in the dark." He closed his eyes. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I said, "You were trained too." That landed. He looked at me then. Really looked. And in that moment, I knew. He wouldn't stop her. Not completely. Not unless forced. The next Sunday, I returned alone. No warning. No invitation. She was in the kitchen when I arrived. Of course she was. I placed my phone on the counter and slid it toward her. "Watch," I said. She didn't touch it. "I don't need to," she said coolly. "You've always been dramatic." I pressed play. Her voice filled the room. Her rules. Her tone. She paled again. "This is private," she snapped. "So was the kitchen," I said. She straightened. "You're overreacting." I smiled. That surprised her. "I've enrolled my daughter in therapy," I said. "I've documented everything. Dates, times, patterns." Her breath hitched. "I've also spoken to a lawyer." Silence. "You won't see her again," I continued. "Not supervised. Not unsupervised. Not at birthdays. You can't do that," she whispered. I leaned closer. "I already did." She reached for my arm. I stepped back. "No more stools," I said. "No more darkness." I picked up my phone. As I walked out, I heard her sit down. Hard. It's quiet now. Our home feels different. Lighter. My daughter laughs louder. She eats first. She doesn't ask permission to exist. My husband is trying. That's a separate story. Sometimes I think about that kitchen. The flickering light. The sound of water. I don't feel anger anymore, just clarity. Some people confuse control with love. Some families call cruelty tradition. I don't argue with them. I remove access. The last thing my mother-in-law said to me was that I was cruel. I didn't correct her. I just closed the door. And for the first time, I didn't look back.